The SPHL is the fourth pro hockey league in America and has no affiliation to any other leagues. It's a common starting point for college players that look to turn pro, and it also has good movement up and down to this ECHL. It also has a very good attendance average and community involvement. The players that look to turn pro in Europe after playing in this league usually end up in medium or lower leagues. Our next interview is with John Chavo. John is an American hockey player that's now played multiple seasons in the SPHL. He turned pro right after his junior career, and it will be interesting to see how he managed to get a spot on each team. Hi John, thanks for being here with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so our first question will be, quickly explain your hockey career up to the point you reached the SPHL.
So I played juniors at 16 in Long Island, New York. That's when I started my junior career. I ended up playing 2 years of junior B before I went to junior A. So then I played 2 years of tier 3 junior A in Long Island. One of those years was with you. And that was for the junior Islanders. And then my last year of juniors, I moved on to the BCHL in British Columbia, Canada. I played out there for 1 year. That was my best junior experience. I was so lucky to play out there. And then after that, I didn't take the college route. I ended up going straight to the pros. So that was my extent of my junior career.
Yeah, so how come you chose to turn pro right after juniors instead of going to college like many others do?
So for me, I was homeschooled, and when I was being homeschooled, I actually didn't realize a lot of information about the NCAA clearinghouse. So as I was in my final year of junior at 20 years old, I didn't have another year to play, and I was basically running out of time with not enough information. So I tried to transfer into a couple Division I schools that I was talking to, and it was almost a little too late to figure that out. And I had another invite to New York Islanders prospect camp. So I had a good opportunity to show myself and believe that I could go right to the pros without college. So when it was a tough time getting through the clearinghouse, and because I was homeschooled and things like that, I thought going pro would be the next best thing.
So did you have an agent when you wanted to turn pro, or did you just contact the teams yourself?
At the time, I had a camp in the AHL in Bridgeport, and that was through Islanders prospect camp. And then in the ECHL and the SPHL, I had just emailed teams, gotten contacts through friends, and almost all the coaches replied. So I definitely did it myself for a while. And I did have an agent for a little while when I was in the ECHL, but not for in the SPHL.
So when you contacted the teams, did you also have a tryout?
That's how I ended up signing my first contract in the SPHL, and at the time it was the Macon Mayhem. And then from there, I played a couple of games. I ended up getting called up to the ECHL, and the reason being why I got called up to the ECHL was I had a really good camp there, and I believe it was more of a numbers game at the time. So I went down to the SP for a couple of games, went back up to the ECHL for a couple of games, and then I ended up finishing that season down in the SP. So it all started because of camps, and I think that's what opened up my opportunities to prove myself.
So many players, including yourself, move up and down from the SPHL to the East Coast a lot. How are those transfers managed? Do the teams have to authorize those, or can you just move up and down freely?
So the SPHL has no affiliation with the ECHL. So if you're playing in the SPHL, you have the opportunity to get called up to any ECHL team. I think the biggest thing would be getting your name out there and people just starting to know you, so they're not just looking at the stat board. You know, if I went to a camp in Kansas City like I did, they kind of had their eye on me when I was playing in the SP. If something happened to a player, or if it was a forward that played kind of similar to me, that I would get called up and get the opportunity. So most times you have to navigate yourself and prove yourself, but it's definitely easier to get called up by all the teams in the higher league than just being affiliated with one.
Yeah, and how are the contracts in the SPHL? Are they seasonal, monthly, or weekly? And what happens to them when you move up to the East Coast?
Weekly, it's basically a day-by-day contract. As you're getting paid for that, if you do take a call-up, you would basically just be released from that team of salary, they would still have your rights. So if you go up to the ECHL, then you would be on their salary cap and be getting paid by them. And then if you get released from the ECHL, you'd have the opportunity to go on waivers and get picked up by another ECHL team. And if that doesn't happen, you'd end up just going back to the SP and back to the same team you played on, because they would still have your rights.
And does the ECHL team contact you or the team?
I think, in my opinion, it happens both ways. So I have gotten called up by myself, and me have to tell the coaches. And I've also got told by coaches that this ECHL team is talking about you. You might have the opportunity to get called up. So I think sometimes coaches might have your contact, and sometimes other coaches might have the team's contact. So I think it happens both ways for sure. So if you're emailing teams at the ECHL level while you're in the SP, there's a chance they might just call you or talk to you. But most times all the coaches know each other, and they're talking and discussing, the players moving up and down.
So basically, if the contracts are like daily or weekly, you really have no idea what happens to you in a month or so, right? So you don't know if you'll be with the same team for a week or a month or for the whole season, right?
Yeah, so to be honest, there's really not. And it definitely relies on your play and what's going on. In SPHL, it is definitely day-to-day, but it's the same with the ECHL day-to-day. So I have been called up to the ECHL, played 5 games and been released, and I've also been up in the ECHL for more than half of the year and not been released, and almost played every game while I was up there. So it does definitely change, but yeah, it's day-to-day and not much stability if you get released, because once you're released from either of those leagues, you get no salary.
Yeah, so if they release you from the ECHL roster, can you automatically return to the SPHL, or does the team have to want you back?
Yeah, they would have to just accept you again, which most times, in my opinion and in my view, the team welcomes you right back. I guess there's always a chance that they wouldn't welcome you back, but they usually keep your rights while you're up, and then if there's a chance that you'll come back, they take you right back.
Yeah, and what about living? Do you live in an apartment or in a hotel? And who pays for that?
So the team in both leagues take care of apartments for you. So that doesn't come out of your salary or anything like that. They take care of it. In both leagues, the places I've lived have been very, very nice. Been lucky to have good setups and things like that. It obviously changes at every team, but for the most part, it's usually an apartment with another teammate or 2 other teammates, and you're usually dialed in with Wi-Fi, TV, nice little setup.
Yeah, so who pays for flights from one location to the other?
For the ECHL, they take care of your travel to the call-up or to the season, things like that. The SPHL, I'm not quite positive. Sorry for not knowing that information, if they take care of the travel or not. But the ECHL definitely does.
Will they also pay for a car or something?
Yes, and then they would just, most of the time, just refund you.
Okay, so they refund you for gas or...
And the rental.
Okay, so would you say that most of the players in the SPHL don't have agents, or yeah, how is that split up?
I think half and half. I think sometimes people don't want to pay for an agent. They are pushing themselves, which I like to do, and use my connections and just reaching out myself. Saves me a little bit of money too. Or a lot of guys do have agents. They're paying them a little bit of the percentage of their salary for the season or for the time being with those pro teams for them making the connection. So both ways are definitely good, and I think it'd be like half and half. Most guys haven't had an agent, and half the guys have an agent.
What's the lifestyle in the SPHL? So can you explain a day-to-day life?
Yeah, so I've played multiple times now for the Huntsville Havoc. We won a championship there last season. It's an incredible setup there. I'm very lucky to be playing there and in that community. So our day-to-day is usually wake up, head to the rink, have a morning practice, couple workouts with the team a week at the rink. We have a nice little setup there to work out as a team. And then sometimes you'll have something in the community once or twice a week. Not too often. Just gotta get out and have that outreach, obviously, with the fans and with the community. So the day-to-day would probably be just practice every day of the week. Games are mostly Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Not too many weekday games. So most time, yeah, it's a lot of practice early in the AM, get on the ice, have a little workout, and then usually good for the day.
Do you have any specific advice for a junior hockey player looking to go to the SPHL? Maybe something you wish you would have known before?
No, I think just reaching out and not being scared to email multiple teams, and if they don't get back to you, email them once again just to try it. I think if you want to play pro, it's going to be how much you put into it. Same with how much you put into your workouts and your training and things like that. I think for me, it's given me a great outlook on life, and I've really enjoyed playing and obviously winning a championship with my Huntsville team. So I've been lucky to be on the journey that I've been, and it's been 5 years. I've always played a couple games in the SP each season, so it's definitely treated me good, and I'm definitely lucky. But yeah, if I was a player aging out, I would have no problems reaching out to those coaches. If you can find their email, it's all their emails are on the internet somewhere when you Google the team, and there's even sometimes a way to get their phone number just off of the internet and you searching it yourself. So it's just something that you have to be aggressive on and show how bad you want it.
Yeah, so that was it for today, John. Thank you very much again for being here with us today.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Morten. Thank you.